Okay, go put your phones in the cell hotel if you've not already done so. If there was anyone else who was away yesterday and did not get to do the quiz, then you can just pick up a divider and do it now. Yeah? Yeah. Because that way, if you're really lucky, I'll be able to mark it for you and get it back to you before you You're welcome. I don't know. I don't know what to stop it. So just in case you guys are wondering where my headspace is right now. So I got up this morning, I made some Chem 12 stuff, and then I came to school, and then I marked your quizzes, and then I marked your quizzes during break, and then I taught Chem 12 AP for a block, and I marked your quizzes while I was teaching them, and then I marked your quizzes all lunch hour, and then I went downstairs and I photocopied something so that I could like take people out on a nature walk in block 3, and then the bell rang, and then I came back over, and then I stapled them while people were getting into their seats, and then I went through block 3, who was a little behind you guys, and we got through what we did, and then we went on the nature walk, and now we're back here, and I haven't eaten lunch, and so my brain is a little bit like overstimulated. So I'm gonna try and calm down so I'm not a crazy maniac for you. Okay? Yes. We may or may not go on a walk just depending on where we get to in terms of time. Okay? What? Yes, but it will depend where we get to. Okay? I think we will have time to go for a walk, but I can't guarantee it, so I'm not going to promise it because that stresses me out and I'm trying to do like the Is that a question you want to ask a person in my state of mind right now? No. And yes, you will. And yes, you will. Okay? No. Okay. because we have to. We 100% have to get through this because when is your test? Thursday. All this graphing stuff will be on your test. We will not have a quiz on the graphing. We don't have time to do one and get it back to you. But what we do have, and I would like you actually, before we do anything else, I would like you to turn to page 8. 8. 8. 8. This is exactly, now those of you who are talking to other people and worrying about their business rather than paying attention to this might not score as well on the scatter plot question on your test. I am recording this, so if you're writing the quiz right now and you're worried about missing this, don't worry, it is being recorded. So on page 8, this is literally the marking scheme. This is the marking scheme for the graphing question on your test next week. So every time you do a practice graph, you should probably go through this checklist and say, did I do these things? Okay? Okay, and if you didn't do them, then you'll want to go back and fix it. Yes? All right. What page is it on? Page 8. Do you need a book? Do you need a book? Okay. All right. So I think we're around page 106-ish today, and we'll finish off the graphing stuff. Yeah, 107 actually. We're on page 107. And you were to have done these questions, and we're going to ask you today, is this question number 1 on page 107, is it linear or is it non-linear? What do you guys think? Non-linear. Now, would it be okay for me to correct this curve by going like this? And just, what do you think? Is that good? No, because that line is squiggly. Yes, do you see how it does a squiggle here? No squiggles. No squiggles. So in order to make that into a smooth curve, it's going to curve gradually up. This part's easy. Then when we get to this last part, I'm going to kind of just take it right through the middle of my data there. Okay, so I have a couple points above, I have a couple points below. Okay, it's following the overall trend of the data. So this one is not linear, it is non-linear. And if you want the actual name, it is called sigmoidal, but you don't need to know that for your test. Okay, our next one, do you think that is linear or non-linear? Linear. Because it doesn't make a curve. Like I can't really see a curve in there at all. So what I'm going to do is I am going to grab my ruler, stick it through the middle of the data, draw a trend line. Okay, straight line trend line. That one's linear. How about number 2? Linear or non-linear? Non-linear. We have a smooth curve. And if you graph it, if you make your graph in, say, Excel, it will draw a smooth curve for you. You can just like sort of basically do your best. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do my best. Like, I feel like the bottom could have used a little work. It got a little flat a little soon, but you know, it's not bad, right? How about number 5, linear or non-linear? Non-linear. And so, here we go. That's a chemistry curve. We see these in chemistry all the time. Yes? If it was a what? Oh yeah, and for things like economics, you can definitely use they call, instead of a scatter plot with a trend line, it's called a line graph, and that is where you connect the dots and it goes up and down. So like if you've got stocks, or if you're looking at like one currency, like the US dollar to the Canadian dollar, those ones will go up and down. Okay, so yeah, you do use those, but just not very often in science. Okay. And what about number 3, linear or non-linear? I'm going to give you 2 choices. We got the red line. And then we have the blue line, non-linear. Okay? I wouldn't give you one like this on a test because it's a little bit hard to tell maybe. You know what I mean? I'm going to give you one that's really obvious so it won't be difficult to make a choice. Okay? And number 6, linear. Okay. Do you remember what an outlier is? Tell your partner, what is an outlier? Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, my dear. Let's put that in there. Here we go. Let's take a look. Could you please, on page 108, having fun with dust? On page 8, could you please circle any outliers? Page 108. So let's circle any outliers that we have. Yes. There can be more than one outlier. Yeah, best outliers from the best fit line. So what do we think? How many outliers in the first graph? 2, 1, 2. How many outliers in the second graph? 1. Probably just 1. Sometimes that happens. All right, let's draw the best fit line for this scatter plot. And I would like you to circle and label any outliers. Feel free to grab a ruler if you need one. We will be drawing a few trend lines here, so help yourself to a ruler if you want. Do you need a book? Thank you, just in there. Great, thank you. We are on page 108, I think. Yeah, 108. Do you see any outliers? Where? Yeah, that one. That is indeed our outlier. Awesome. Now, the origin. This is page 109. 109. Your origin does not have to be at 0, 0. So the corner of your graph does not have to be 0, 0. Because sometimes if you have all your data, if your data doesn't start until very far away from 0, you could end up with a graph that looks like this. What is the problem with this graph where all my data is over there? Yeah, I don't need all of this empty space. Empty space is not good. I mean, if you had a couple of points down here, then it would be okay, but you don't. You got nothing, absolutely nothing over on the left-hand bottom of the graph. Take a look at that graph and tell me, where would you like your x-axis to actually start? Do we want it to start at 50, at 100, at 150? Where should we start it? We could start it at 140, or we could start it at 150, because I think that would be like our first point might even be at about 150. So this is where we're going to start, the x-axis. Where should we start our y-axis? Right at about 40. Yes. Okay. Yeah, you can move the top down a little bit too. Absolutely. So you're basically just spreading it out. So instead of having 50 be your points, you'll be able to have smaller divisions. You'll be able to go up by 10s or 20s or something like that. Let's see what that actually looks like if we spread out our data. Here we go. Let's see what we did. Whoa, look, we started at 140. not at 150, so that's fine. We could have started at 150. But now instead of going up by 50s, we're going up by 20. So we spread out the data way, way more. On the y-axis, instead of going up by 20, we're going up by 10. And so it spreads out the data way more. In math class, you might have used a break. Have you used a break in math class? Yeah. In science, you don't need to draw the break. You just start where you want to start. If you want to start at 40, just start at 40. Yes? Because we just don't care about what's outside of our data. Okay? Sometimes we actually do care what's outside of the data, and we'll actually graph. Like I might actually want to say, can I predict what y value I would get for this x value, right? Even though it's not within my data, I could predict what I would actually get. Does that make sense? Yeah. So sometimes we'd like to actually make it bigger than our data, but unless you're asked to do that specifically, don't do it. Okay? Okay, next page, 109. I think it's 109. I don't know. 109 or 110. It's 110. Sometimes your data is going to be guaranteed to go through 0, 0. Let's take a look at this graph. I've got the volume. Let's just say I have some metal cubes. Okay, and I go and I measure the volume of the metal cube, and then I measure its mass, and then I measure the volume of a metal cube, and then I measure its mass. Now, there's a point that I don't have on my graph, but it is absolutely always going to be correct for this graph. Yes? If you have no volume, there cannot be any mass. So even though I didn't make that measurement, I can say that this point here if I have 0 volume, the mass has to be 0. Okay, so if I have 0 volume, the mass has to be 0. Therefore, I know that point right there is 100% correct. If you find a set of data like that, and the 0, 0 should be a point, then you have to pass your line through that point. Okay, you don't have a choice because you know that that point is correct. So your data should go through 0, 0, so you're going to force it to go through 0, 0. So I'm going to show you on the board here because it's really hard to show you a ruler moving on the screen because you can't see. There's no ruler on the screen. I can't make it work. So let us, here we go, we've got a graph here, yes? And I've got a bunch of points. And let's say I know for sure that my point is 0, 0. What you're going to do with your ruler is you are going to make sure that it touches 0, 0, and then use that point as an anchor or a hinge or pivot point, and you're going to pivot the ruler around the origin. Is that making sense? So you're not going to draw a line that looks like that. Why not? Because it's not going through 0, 0. You're not going to draw a line that looks like that because it's not going through 0, 0. If, only if, it should go through 0, 0, that's when you'll do that and you'll say, oh, that looks like a good line there and it passes through 0, 0. Okay? We're going to do a couple of examples where we can decide, should my graph go through 0, 0? And you have to use your brain to think about this. Okay, what did I do with my writing implement? Put it down somewhere. There it is. Okay. Take a look at what your y-axis says and what your x-axis says. This is maybe like a salary for a job. Should this graph pass through 0, 0? Does it make sense for this data to have a 0, 0 point? Chat with your neighbor about that. Yeah. So the question you have to ask yourself is, if I have 0 years of experience, is it true that my salary will be $0? Is that true? No. There are interns, but if I'm a teacher, as soon as I am hired as a teacher, my salary is something. Yes? So I don't get hired at $0. Okay? So it's not, even if you take into account an unpaid intern, it doesn't have to be 0, 0. There's no reason why you have to. I never was a teacher for free, right? Like they didn't allow, I mean, I volunteered in as a tutor, right? But I couldn't volunteer as a teacher. That was not something that one did at that time. Okay, so I never had any unpaid teaching experience. Okay, well, I did as a student teacher, but I wasn't working as a job, right? I was going to school. That was part of my schooling. Yes? So the answer is no. All right. So if that is the case, I don't need my trend line to pass through 0, 0. And that's good because it doesn't look like it should either, right? Like if I draw my trend line, that's nowhere near 0, 0, right? It's like maybe 21,000 or something, 25,000. Actually, it looks more like 28,000, sorry. But anyway. Now, that's per year. Yeah. So we've drawn the trend line. The answer here is no. We've drawn the trend line. I would like you to see if you can remember how to give a title to this graph. Yes? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you have two choices. Do you like, I'm going to color this one yellow, years of experience versus salary, or we have the blue option. I think I made it blue. Let's make sure I did. Do we like salary versus years of experience? Do you remember which way around it should be? Salary versus years of experience. If you wrote years of experience versus salary, you would get a half a mark. Yeah? Now, how are you going to remember that? Yes. We read from left to right. So what do we come across first? Salary, the y-axis, and then we come across years of experience as we read from left to right. Very good. Now, normally I would write that at the top of my graph, but I have written all over the top of my graph and not left myself room for a title. So, should this trend line pass through 0, 0? Now, when we say the number of times a die has rolled, do you guys know what a die is? That is a singular dice. So the question you need to ask yourself is, if I have rolled the die zero times, should I have 0 6s rolled? And the answer is yes, because if I haven't rolled the die, how will I have rolled a 6? Yes? Like it has to be, if I haven't rolled it, there's no 6s yet. So the answer is yes. So what am I going to do to ensure that my line goes through 0, 0? Describe to your partner how you will use your ruler to make sure your point goes through 0, 0. Hopefully you remember, you're going to put your ruler at 0, and then you're going to use that as a hinge point, a pivot point, to move your ruler until it goes through the middle of the data. What do you notice about this graph? It has something. It has an outlier. So I just ignore that when I'm drawing my trend line. And now you could give this graph a title. Once again, we have a yellow choice and we have a blue choice. Our yellow choice is number of 6s versus number of times the die is rolled. Our blue choice is number of times the die is rolled versus the number of sixes. Do you like yellow or do you like blue? Yellow, because we read from left. Let me do this in green so it doesn't look weird. We read from left. And then as we move further right, we get to the number of times. So that's going to go first, and then this is going to go second. Now we've come to the point where we have our exercises. This is where I got to with my other class, okay? So your homework is going to be, I'm not going to write in like green highlighter because that's crazy. It doesn't work very well. Pages 111 to 113, that's practice with the graphing stuff. I'm also going to give you a review package for your test. You can choose to do as much or as little of it this weekend as you want. Some people like to save it for closer to the test. Some people are like, I am busy during the week because I have other classes, so I'd like to study this weekend. Some people might be going camping this weekend. Well, we still have a little nice weather maybe, right? So you decide, you're in charge of your own destiny. Do as much or as little of the test review as makes sense for you. Okay? You could also just generally study for your test. You could go through your old quizzes. Things like that. I'll post up blank versions of the quizzes if you want to. You can just go through them again. Do general review. How awesome is your life going to be if you start studying Wednesday night? Your life is going to suck. I'm just going to tell you now, if you start studying Wednesday night, you will probably be unhappy. You'll either be unhappy because you're trying to cram everything in your brain, or you'll be unhappy when you get your mark back and you're like, oh, that didn't work very well. I didn't learn very much in one night. Okay, so break up your studying over the weekend, over next week. I don't see you next week until what day? Tuesday. I'm going to give this to you, and then we're going to have to think about what we want to do for the rest of the class, because we have a couple of options. Okay. Or you can do back to this as well. Like if you have them like this behind you. Okay, and I need to give back your quizzes. When you hear your name, you're going to get the quiz back, okay? If you, yeah, this is not the new one. Okay. Sean, Lena, you're right here. Yeah. Zidane, Matthias. This is the original. Zach. Sophia Kim. Pardon me? Yes. Yeah. I'm just giving this back to you so you have feedback right now. Yeah. Andre. Obviously, that's your original one. Will. There you go. That would be good. Better. Yes. Sophia D. Lauren. This is the bathroom. Baran. Patricio. What?
But it's still an observation.
Okay, Tristan. We might be, but we're just going to see how everybody feels about going on the nature walk, okay? Brian. Sophia K is not here. Yes. No, no, I probably added it wrong. There's no way to add that and that and that.
If I didn't screw up this one,
Like I said, I was marking like a desperate demon during lunch, so the chances of me making an adding mistake are like really high. Yeah. There was this one kid one time, every time I marked his test, I would like forget to carry the one or something, and I would be out not just by a little bit, but like by 10 marks or 7 marks or whatever. And so every time, for the first 3 times, I'd hand it back to him, and he'd be like, what's that? Lauren, where are you? You're right here. There you go. Okay, I'm just going to change this here. Sophia, walk. There we go. Hi. I added wrong. I'm so sorry. Oh no, that was fine. No, you're fine. Yeah, no, you're fine. Yeah, no, you should. What did I do there? That's just a weird. Like I said, I was marking like a demon at lunch, and so I was not being super careful. So yeah, let's fix that. There you go. That's better.
so I'm wondering.
Do you want to redo the quiz right now?
Huh?
Do you want to redo the quiz right now?
No, the word is
Okay.
so
Okay.
it wouldn't be fair. But I'm wondering, what is it that I have to get all on for you to get rid of that?
The test. So if you just score better
When
on
is
the
that?
test is next Thursday.
Oh, like that's the final test?
Yeah.
Okay,
so
cool.
if you score better on that, then I'll
Okay.
just throw that quiz out.
Alright.
Yeah.
And everything I need to study is in that study book that you gave to us?
Yes, plus, plus you should be studying like just like your old quizzes. If you would like.
Oh, it's everything.
Everything. Everything. Yeah. The yeah. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you do not need to yell. Okay? You can talk to each other, that's fine, but please don't yell. Thank you. Yes. Oh, I did not mark it because but I can do, I was too busy at lunch, but, let me just talk for you right now. Quizzes are with 10% of your overall grade. So 10% quizzes, 5% homework quizzes. 20 or 25% on labs and assignments, and then the rest is on your test. And then whatever is left over. So we have a 15, and a 25, 55% test. And I also factor in, like, if you're asking good questions or if you're seeming interested in like the topic or whatever. Like that goes into your, you know, because I get people who are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do all the extending stuff, I'm gonna do all this. Oh, that's great. There's no need to do that. I mean, you still get proficient. Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, so 21 out of 22, and then 18 out of 18. Isn't that 39 out of 22?
Oh, do check your adding. Like I said, I marked them in about 30 seconds at lunch. So if I added it wrong, come and tell me. I've already marked 2 of them. I've already added 2 of them wrong. So yeah.
I see here it says 21 out of 22 and then 18 out of 18 and you wrote 38 out of 40.
Okay, that does not work. Yes. Let's fix that for you, my dear. Okay, there we go. And the most important place for me to fix it is here. Did anyone get 40? Let's see. In this class. Did anyone get 40 in my other class? No. Top mark 39.5. And it's because of those rocks. And I don't really think that's a great question. That's why I gave you a half instead of a 0. Maybe next year I'll be clever and take that question out. Gotta keep doing it. We don't get much to make them suffer the way you have suffered.
Yes, and actually,
you don't get much to that.
Nobody will get the point.
Did anyone want any blank quizzes like of the previous ones you did to take with you over the weekend? Yes?
I have another question. Just real quick one.
Yeah.
Would I do a curved one here like this, or do I do like a straight one like
You could go argue either way, so do whatever you want to do there.
this one?
Yeah. Yeah. Don't be stressed about the test.
Wait, Sean didn't see the back page?
Sorry, go ahead. No, you can totally. The classroom does not have enough walking space. No, it's for your own use. Okay, it's kind of like the final what do I know? You can just sort of figure out, you can be like, oh, these are the questions I got wrong. This is where I need to do more studying, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I actually have a question.
Yes.
For the test,
Yeah.
what specifically are we
So what is on the test? Everything. So you remember that you were all 3 quizzes you've done? everything from all of those 3 quizzes will be on your test. So there's going to be scientific method, there's going to be graphing, all the different variables, all the different correlations. I feel like we might not get to interpolating and extrapolating this year. We maybe will make that an enriched thing. Okay. Everything. If it's been in our booklet, it's on the test. Yeah. All vocab will be on the test. Yep. Legal size, right? So like this size, and then like front back, I think. So 6 pages. You get the whole class. We're not doing it on our Friday, so it's not like a short class. And if you run it, it's not a 2-hour class, but it's just like not a short one. Fridays are a little bit shorter than Thursdays. That's what we're doing it Thursdays. Yeah. You didn't have lunch, oh no. Oh. Flowers are so beautiful. Like the whole thing has really beautiful. Oh, I bet. Our class.
Even me, I'm also.
I never spent much time like doing art because I'm not very creative. So I find it hard to come up with ideas. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I never spent much time on it. So I never got to yeah. So now I'm like stick figures. That's where my talent ends. I do. In junior high school, so junior high school was grade 8, 9, 10. Grade 8, we didn't really have a lot of it. Either home ec or industrial education. And back in the day, all the girls took home ec except for Kathy Layton, who was like, I don't want to take home ec. She took industrial education.
I would have gotten worse than you if I wrote Hong. If I wrote like what if I wrote civil, graduated civil. Thank God I got the shit.
Anyway, yeah, so I did home ec.
I was gonna write graduated civil.
Yeah, tech ed. And then I took band. Typing, which was actually the best course I ever took. Because it meant that I didn't have to, like, I didn't have to type so I got it out. Yeah, we got Yeah, just unswiggle this bit. Yeah, not so much time for dogs.
No, wait, let me do my calculation. What is 39 divided by 5?
English literature. I enjoyed them. Like that was fun. I wish I was taking more. I wish I had more room on my timetable.
Just use a calculator.
Yeah, you can calculate.
I can't even do math.
What do you
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was like honestly, I loved band. Not just like music, but all my friends were in band. We would all go on trips together. Like we went all over Disneyland together.
like, is it like that there's correlation?
Yeah.
Our math teacher used to say things like this when she gave us that.
Oh. Oh, like a dam. Okay, well, school band.
Wait, what did you write?
I think that is part of the
How do you write this?
I don't know. Yeah.
I'll just do that. Hey, where's the homework? I need to start too. Oh, thank you.
I just shut it because it was blinding.
No, I need good grades. And you think you're gonna get E? I think you might get E. Do you think Asian parents will take anything other than no, it's not weird. This is yours is gonna hurt though more than mine. Yeah, me too. Where's your are you gonna do like review thing? Where's your review? Bro, not on my phone, Alex.
not bad at all. Absolutely. Arm wrestling. Yeah. I used to be able to running gymnastics when I was little, and then like as I turned into a teenager, like